Trump's immigration policies are in the Supreme Court once again in the case of Velázquez v. Bondi. The case questions deadlines. The justices had to decide what happens when a deadline for voluntary departure falls on a weekend or a holiday. The court ruled that if the deadline lands on one of those days, it actually extends to the next business day. Nine Robes uses non-partisan, everyday language to focus on the facts of what the Supreme Court is saying. Here, you'll find clear, concise summaries of every Supreme Court opinion, stripped of legalese and clickbait headlines. Each post breaks down the facts, explains the court's reasoning, and highlights the crucial details that often go unnoticed. It's not just about what the court decided. It's about why those decisions matter, to give you a deeper understanding of the cases that define our nation's legal landscape. These summaries are generated by AI. Be careful and consult reputable sources when in doubt. This decision overturned a previous ruling from the 10th Circuit, which had treated the deadline as a strict calendar day. Justice Neil Gorsuch wrote the majority opinion, and he was joined by Justices Roberts, Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson. On the other side, Justices Thomas, Alito, and Barrett disagreed, with Kavanaugh joining parts of their dissent. This ruling is important because it clarifies how deadlines are interpreted in immigration cases, ensuring that individuals have a fair chance to respond, especially when those deadlines coincide with weekends or holidays. The court's decision means that people won't be unfairly penalized for timing that is out of their control. The case of Monsalvo Velázquez v. Bondi arose from the federal government's initiation of removal proceedings against Monsalvo, who sought to suspend these efforts or to leave the United States voluntarily. An immigration judge found him removable, but granted him a 60-day period for voluntary departure. After the Board of Immigration Appeals, BIA, rejected his appeal, it granted him a new 60-day period, which ended on a Saturday. Monsalvo filed a motion to reopen his case on the following Monday, which the BIA rejected as untimely, asserting that the deadline had expired on Saturday. The 10th Circuit upheld the BIA's decision, leading to the Supreme Court's review of the interpretation of the statutory deadline under 8 U.S.C. Sec. 1229 CB2. The Supreme Court, in a decision authored by Justice Gorsuch, held that the 10th Circuit erred in interpreting the voluntary departure deadline as strictly referring to calendar days without extending to the next business day when the deadline falls on a weekend or holiday. The court reasoned that the term days in legal contexts often carries a specialized meaning that allows for such extensions. The court emphasized that Congress enacted Sec. 1229 CB2 against a backdrop of long-standing administrative practices that recognize this interpretation. The court reversed the 10th Circuit's ruling, allowing for the possibility that Monsalvo's motion to reopen was timely filed. Justice Kavanaugh joined the dissenting opinions of Justices Thomas and Alito, which focused on jurisdictional issues rather than the merits of the case. Justice Barrett also dissented, agreeing with Justice Thomas on jurisdiction but providing a different rationale. She argued that Monsalvo did not challenge any aspect of the final order of removal, thus the 10th Circuit lacked jurisdiction to hear his case. Justice Thomas, joined by Justices Alito, Kavanaugh, and Barrett, dissented on the grounds that the court should have remanded the case to the 10th Circuit to address a jurisdictional objection raised by the government. He contended that Monsalvo's petition did not seek judicial review of a final order of removal, as he did not contest his removability. Justice Alito's dissent emphasized that the ordinary meaning of days should apply, arguing that the statutory deadline was clear and that extending it would create inconsistencies. Justice Barrett's dissent focused on the lack of a challenge to the final order of removal, asserting that the 10th Circuit lacked jurisdiction regardless of how broadly one interprets the final order. The case highlights the complexities of statutory interpretation within immigration law, particularly regarding deadlines. The court's decision underscores the principle that statutory terms can carry specialized meanings in legal contexts, which may differ from their ordinary usage. The ruling also illustrates the importance of administrative practices and historical context in interpreting legislative provisions. The dissenting opinions raise critical questions about jurisdiction and the scope of judicial review under the Immigration and Nationality Act, emphasizing the need for clarity in how courts interpret final orders of removal and the implications of procedural deadlines. The case ultimately reflects the tension between strict statutory interpretation and the need for flexibility in legal proceedings, particularly in immigration contexts where individuals face significant consequences. Find us online at 9robes.ai. That's the number, 9robes.ai. Like and share this podcast with friends that like to be informed. 9 Robes provides AI summaries of U.S. Supreme Court cases. AI makes mistakes. People make mistakes too. We genuinely do our best to provide you with the most accurate summaries, but our best sometimes includes errors.